Today I am going to explain you the Dear Departed drama. So it is a humorous drama, The Dear Departed. From the name itself, it is very clear. If we can analyze the name of the drama, the dear, which means a very loving person in a family, departed means passed away. So from the name itself, we can understand the meaning, means the essence of the story. A lovable person of a family gets departed from the family. Before entering into the drama lines, we'll just see here an extract from an old man's diary. Here, read an extract from the diary of a man of 72 years. Now I'm going to read an extract from the diary of a man of 72 years. He is writing like this in his diary. As I sit here alone and waiting, the old person sitting in a place and waiting for something, I gaze at people passing me by. So this man is sitting near a window and observing the people who are passing by the road. I try to smile and reach out to them. So whenever he find a person passing in that way, he tried to smile at them so that they will wish him, they will talk to him. But no one notices, no one waits. But it is really an unfortunate thing that no passerby is noticing this old man's smile, neither observing that he is sitting in a window and observing the people passing by. They look to me like I am nothing. Are they afraid to be seen saying hi to an old man like me? So finally, after observing so many people, so many passers-by, as no one is observing this man and his smile, he came to a conclusion. What is the conclusion given by the man here? Are they afraid to be seen saying hi to an old man like me? So he came to a conclusion thinking that maybe the people who are passing in that way are afraid of him, afraid of talking to him. Once my life. So with this disappointment, he is very sad and he is trying to recollect his olden days. We'll see what he is recollecting here. Once my life, it's like a flower. So he is telling in olden days, his life used to be like a flower. I had bloomed into a child, now like the dying flower. So he used to be when he was a child, he's like a flower. But now as he has become old, even though he is trying to talk to the people, no one is turning towards him. So he is considering himself as a dying flower, waiting for my one day to come. So finally he is telling he doesn't have any hope on his life. He says that he is waiting for one day. What is the day? The day on which he is going to die. He wanted to die and he was waiting for that day. It will be then that I am gone. So what happens when a person dies? He is gone forever. That's the same thing what this man is writing in his diary. He is telling it will be then that I am gone. He says that he will be gone when he is dead. And yet I still would not have heard that simple word hi. So what is the intention of this person sitting near the window, this old man? He is expecting a simple word hi from the passers-by. He is expecting one or the other person who is passing in that way, seeing him, seeing his smile, they will come and wish him hi. Only for that small word he is waiting, but no person is responding. That for so long my heart had desired. So for a long time his heart has only one desire, that is the people should come and wish him, and even the people are not observing, they are not caring for him. So he is so sad. This is the condition of few of the old people in the present society. See here, after reading the extract, you need to think on the questions like, what do you think he is feeling? So, what do you think will be the feeling of this old man? It is very clear that his feelings are so sad. Why is he sad? As his desire is not fulfilled, the old man is so sad. What situation do you think leads to people feeling so? What do you think is the situation? Why the old man is feeling so sad in this situation? What do you think? His loneliness, as he is so alone, as he is all alone and he did not find any person to talk to him, so he is very sad. Can such people be helped? How? So in your idea, do you think that these people can be helped? And if you think, how do you think that you can help these people? Now here I am going to read a newspaper extract, a story from a newspaper. India's elderly face growing neglect. So the heading of this news is India's elderly face growing neglected. Means in India the elderly people are being neglected. This is written by Tinku Ray and it is given in BBC News, Delhi. So we'll see. There has been a steady rise recently in reports of cases of elderly being abused, harassed and abandoned in India. See here, you have to see the meaning, you have to observe the meaning of three words. One is abused. So in this story written in a newspaper, it is given, there has been a steady rise recently in reports of cases. Means there is an increase in the reports, in the cases where elderly, means the old people are being abused. Abused means scolding. And harassed. Harassed means tortured. So the elderly people are being scolded, being tortured and abandoned. So abandoned means left away, who were left all alone. So here in India in recent times, if we can observe, the number of cases regarding the abusing or harassing or abandoning the old people are being increased in nowadays. Traditionally, older people have been revered in India, signified by the touching of their feet by the younger generation. So this is the condition what we have discussed previously, abusing, harassed and abandoning the olden people. It is happening in the present society. But in olden days, these people, the old people were rewarded. In what ways they are rewarded? The younger generations used to touch the field of elder people and ask them to bless them. That is the respect we used to give to older people in olden days. Prime ministers and presidents have almost always been senior citizens. In olden days, the prime ministers or the presidents, they used to be only the older citizens. Joint family systems. In olden days, we have joint families, but now nuclear families are rapidly increasing, where 3 or more generations lived under one roof, where a strong support network for the elderly. In olden days, we used to have joint families where more than 2 or 3 generations used to live under one roof, where the younger generation used to give utmost respect to the elder people of the family. They used to get good support. Elder people used to get good support from the younger generations. But more children are now leaving their parent homeless to set up their own. So now what happening? Many people, many children are leaving their house to settle in their life. The people are moving to other towns and cities for jobs. They are leaving their parents, they are leaving their houses. That is the reason why the nuclear families are being increased in the present society, leaving the elder ones all alone. Before entering into the drama line of the drama The Dear Departed, we'll just see about the author. So the author of the drama The Dear Departed was William Stanley Houghton, 1881 and 1913. He was a famous English dramatist. He was one of the best of a group of realistic playwrights, often called the Manchester School. In every play, he sought to present an idea. He had a remarkable gift for dialogue that is evident in The Dear Departed. See, here we can easily understand the writing style of the author. He had a remarkable gift for dialogue writing that we can clearly see in the drama The Dear Departed. The Dear Departed was first produced in Manchester in 1908. Here, Houghton sterilizes the degradation of moral values in the British middle class. See, here we can easily understand from this story what the author tried to convey. The author tried to convey the degradation of moral values in the British middle class society. Now we are going to enter into the story. Before entering into the story, we'll just see the characters of the story. We have different humorous characters and serious characters here in the story. The characters of the drama are: first, we'll see two sisters, the two important characters of the drama, the two sisters. One is Mrs. Slatter and another one is Mrs. Jordan. So, the two main characters in the story are the two sisters. One is Mrs. Slatter and the other one is Mrs. Jordan. Next, their husbands. Next two characters we are going to see here are the husbands of the two sisters whom we mentioned above. One is Henry Slatter. Henry Slatter is the husband of Mrs. Slatter and the another one is Ben Jordan. And the next character is Ben Jordan. Ben Jordan is the husband of Mrs. Jordan. And the remaining two characters are Victoria Slatter and Abel Mary Weather. So the characters here we discussed about two sisters. One is Mrs. Slatter, Mrs. Jordan, and the husbands of the two sisters, Henry Slatter and Ben Jordan. Now we'll see who are these Victoria Slatter and Abel Mary Weather. So Victoria Slatter is the daughter of Mrs. Slatter and Henry Slatter, whereas Abel Mary Weather is the father of the two sisters, Mrs. Slatter and Mrs. Jordan. He is the father of the two sisters. So once again, let me explain you the characters. The two main characters here, Mrs. Slatter and Mrs. Jordan. These two are sisters. And Henry Slatter is the husband of Mrs. Slatter. Ben Jordan is the husband of Mrs. Jordan. Victoria Slatter is the daughter of Mrs. Slatter and Henry Slatter. And finally, Abel Merriweather is the father of the two sisters and grandfather of Victoria Slatter. These are the important characters whom we are going to see in this drama. So, when the scene is open, the beginning scene of the drama, when the scene is open, it is like this. The scene is in the sitting room of a small house in a lower middle class district. So, the scene when it opens, it is very clear that it is a sitting room in a small house. It is a sitting room of a small house in a lower middle class district of a provincial town, means it in a particular area, it's a district where a small town is there. In that we are going to see the setting, the scene of a middle class house. On the spectator's left is the window with the blinds down. So the spectator's left side we can see one window which is covered with a curtain. Blinds here. The word blinds means curtains. Blinds, it means curtains. A sofa is in the front of it. On his right is a fireplace with an armchair by it. So here we are seeing which material, which thing is on which side and all, the setting, the scene of the middle class house. In the middle of the wall facing the spectator is the door into the passage. To the left of the door, a cheap shabby chest of drawers. A cheap shabby chest of drawers. Shabby means dirty. So there itself you can see one shabby chest of drawers. To the right, a sideboard. On the right side, what is there? On the right side there is a sideboard. In the middle of the room is a table. So on the right side and left side, what all the things are there, that we discussed. Now we'll see what is there in the middle of the room. In the middle of the room is a table. A table is there in the middle of the room with chairs round it. There is a table and few chairs are there around the table. Ornaments and a chest American clock are on the mantelpiece. In the hearth. Hearth means, one more word, new word you can see here, H-E-A-R-T-H. Hearth means fireplace. On the mantelpiece means on the shelf you can see a cheap American clock, and a hearth means a fireplace. You can see a kettle. A kettle means a pot. By the sideboard, a pair of gaudy new carpet slippers are there. By the side you can see gaudy slippers, carpet slippers. Gaudy means bright, bright colored new carpet slippers are there. The table is partly laid for tea and the necessaries for the meal are on the sideboard. As also are copies of an evening paper and of tidbits. So on the side, on the table, everything is ready. Few pieces, things are there for the meals. They are ready, and you can see the papers also. Here you can see the tidbits. Tidbits means it is a British weekly magazine founded by George Newnes in 1881, which was in mass circulation in England. It is a mass circulating newspaper. Tidbits lying on one side, and Person's Weekly. This is also a British weekly magazine founded by Sir Cyril Pearson 1866 and 1921 in 1890. These are the two magazines which are lying on the table there. Turning to the left through the door takes you to the front door. If you turn left, there is another door passage which will take you to the front door. To the right, upstairs. In the passage, a hat stand is visible. So on the passage you can see one hat stand. It is very clear, it is visible. You can see a hat stand. When the curtain rises, so this is the setting of the first scene. When the curtain rises, there appears Mrs. Slatter is seen lying at table. So when the curtain rises, you can see Mrs. Slatter lying, means mending, putting a cloth on the table. She is a vigorous, plump, red-faced, vulgar woman. So here the description of Mrs. Slatter is given. Though in the first scene, when the curtain rises, you can see Mrs. Slatter. And what type of lady is she? This Mrs. Slatter is a vigorous, plump, and a vulgar. So this lady, she is vigorous. Vigorous means the lady is very strong. Plump. Plump means fat. How the appearance of Mrs. Slatter? She is a fat lady. Her face is red. She is a red-faced lady and a vulgar woman, means who is indecent. She is not a decent lady. She is an indecent lady is the description given about Mrs. Slatter. Prepared to do any amount of straight talking to get her own way. Why the writer described her as a vulgar woman here? Because her nature is that whatever he thinks in his mind, to get it, she can talk anything to others. That's why the writer here described Mrs. Slatter as a vulgar woman. She is in black but not in complete mourning. So this lady, Mrs. Slatter, she dressed in black but she is not completely mourning. Mourning means grieving, means if whenever any person dies in the house, a family member, the people sit and cry. That is called nothing but mourning, crying out of sadness. Crying out of sadness is nothing but mourning, grieving. She listens for a moment and then goes to the window, opens it and calls into the street. She stands there after laying the table, listens for some time, and after that she moves towards the window. What we have discussed in the first scene itself, she goes near the window, opens the window and calls out into the street. What is she calling? We'll see. Mrs. Slatter, sharply, Victoria, Victoria, do you hear? Come in. Will you? So Mrs. Slatter, what is she doing? She opened the window and calling out into the street. Slatter is calling Victoria, asking. Victoria is the daughter of Mrs. Slatter. She is calling, do you hear? Can you hear me? Come in. Is the call given by Mrs. Slatter to Victoria. Mrs. Slatter closes window and puts the blind straight and then returns to her work at the table. Victoria, a precocious girl, often dressed in colors, enters. After opening the window, calling Victoria out from the street, she closed the window, closed the window with a curtain and went back to her own work. So after calling like that, a girl entered. A girl. Who is that girl? None other than Victoria Slatter. A girl, Victoria, entered the house in colored dress. And the description of the girl is given. She is precocious. So, precocious, what is the meaning of the word precocious? A person whose mental attitude is developed beyond his or her age. So, this girl is so well matured, well developed mentally girl. She entered and she is dressed in colors. Mrs. Slatter is telling like this to Victoria. I am amazed at you, Victoria. I really am. How you can Galvin Ating about in the street with your grandfather lying dead and cold upstairs? I don't know. So here Mrs. Slatter got surprised. Why is she surprised? What Victoria is doing? She is roaming in the street. She is going out for a pleasure walk. She is trying to seek pleasure. So here you can see the word Galvin Ating, which means go about seeking pleasure. When the grandfather is lying dead in the house, how are you going out? How are you going out and roaming? Is the doubt what Mrs. Slatter got. She got surprised with the behavior of Victoria. So, I don't know. Be off now and change your dress before your Aunt Elizabeth and your Uncle Ben come. So here Slatter is advising Victoria to go and change her dress. Here we can clearly understand as the description of Slatter is given telling that she is a vigorous, plump, red-faced and vulgar woman. See there the scene where Slatter's father is lying dead in the room. And instead of sitting and crying, instead of feeling sad about it, she is feeling what her sister, when she come over there and see her daughter in a colored dress, their sister may feel bad. That is the reason why Slatter is advising Victoria to change the dress before the arrival of the aunt and uncle. Here the aunt is Elizabeth Jordan and the uncle is Ben Jordan. It would never do for them to find you in colors. She is not advising her daughter as the grandfather is dead. She should be in mourning dress, but instead of that she is telling that her sister may feel bad seeing her daughter in the colored dress. That's the reason why she is asking Victoria to change her dress. Victoria questioned her mother for the reason why her sister is coming, because she got a doubt. They haven't been here for ages. For so many days they did not come to their house. So she got a doubt why all of a sudden they are coming here. Mrs. Slatter is answering Victoria like this. They are coming to talk over poor grandpa's affairs. So here we can clearly understand the mentality of this lady, Mrs. Slatter. She is telling to her daughter why the reason Elizabeth is coming here. It is not because her father is dead. She is telling that her sister is coming to discuss on the poor affairs of her grandfather. That means she is mentioning about the property of the grandfather here. Your father sent them a telegram as soon as we find he was dead. Who is he? He is the father of Mrs. Slatter. A noise is heard. So when Mrs. Slatter is telling Victoria that Victoria's father sent a telegram to Elizabeth and Ben Jordan about the death of their father. So that is the reason why this uncle and aunt are going to come to their house. When Slatter is explaining this to Victoria, all of a sudden they heard a sound. Good gracious, that's never them. Mrs. Slatter hurries to the door and opens it. She's telling, as she advised her daughter to change the dress, she did not go ahead. That's why she's telling, good, that should not be Elizabeth and Ben Jordan who knocked at the door. She went hurriedly near the door to open to find out who is that knocking the door. No, thank goodness. It's only your father. So finally she thanked the goodness of the God, because it is not Elizabeth and Ben Jordan who knocked the door. It is the father of Victoria and the husband of Mrs. Slatter who knocked at the door. Henry Slatter, a stooping heavy man with a drooping moustache, enters. So here comes Henry Slatter, the next character. So the description of Henry Slatter is given. He is a stooping heavy man with a drooping moustache. He is a stooping means very tall, bending forward, having a moustache. He enters into the house. He is wearing a black tailcoat, grey trousers, a black tie and a bowler hat. He carries a little paper parcel. So this man, he enters. Henry Slatter entered the house now, and the description of the Slatter is given. Henry, not come yet. Hey, Mrs. Slatter, you can see they haven't can't you? Now, Victoria, be off upstairs, and that quick. Put your white frock on with a black sash. So now, immediately after when Henry Slatter entered the house, he questioned whether Elizabeth and Ben Jordan have come or not. Slatter gave the reply in a satirical manner and advised her daughter to go and change her dress and asked her daughter to wear a white dress. Victoria goes out. So with this instruction from her mother, Victoria moved from the scene. Mrs. Slatter telling to Henry, I'm not satisfied, but it's the best we can do till our new black's ready. And Ben and Elizabeth will never have thought about mourning yet. So we'll outshine them there. So they are busy. Victor Slatter and Henry Slatter are busy in the preparations, what they are supposed to do, what they have to do before the arrival of Elizabeth and Ben Jordan. Get your boots off, Henry. Elizabeth's that praying, she notices the least speck of dirt. So Slatter is advising Henry to remove the boots. Telling like that, Elizabeth's that pre means looking keenly, she notices the least peak of dirt, means a small flake of dirt. Henry, I'm wondering if they'll come at all. When you and Elizabeth quarreled, she said she would never set foot in your house again. So many years back, when Slatter and Elizabeth quarreled with each other, Elizabeth said that she will never step into their house again. So Henry is questioning Slatter here. Already your sister very seriously told that she will never step into the house. Do you think that they will come now? So for this, Mrs. Slatter is telling like this. She'll come fast enough after her share of what grandfather's left. So Slatter is telling to her husband like this. She will definitely come to take the share what she is going to get from her father. You know how hard she can be when she likes. She is also mentioning that Elizabeth is a so stubborn lady. When she likes anything, she will not leave until she get that. Where she gets it from, I can't tell. So she is also mentioning, Slatter is telling about her sister like this. I don't know from where she got that nature, that stubborn nature. But once when she fixed something in her mind, she wants that to be done. Mrs. Slatter unwraps the parcel Henry has brought. It contains an apple pie which she puts on a dish of the table. Henry, I suppose it's in the family. So Slatter already mentioned about the stubborn nature of Elizabeth. For that satirical way of expression Henry is giving. What is he telling? He is telling that I suppose it is in the family. So he says that already in the family all the people are like that. That's the reason why Elizabeth is so stubborn. With this, Slatter feels bad. She says, what do you mean by that, Henry Slatter? So Slatter is questioning, what do you are telling? Because Slatter also belongs to the same family. So she says, what do you say? Henry, he is trying to cover now. He says, I was referring to your father, not to you. Where are my slippers? Henry is telling, he is trying to cover. He is telling that I am not talking about you. I am talking about your father. As he is so stubborn, even Elizabeth also got the same nature. Telling like that, immediately he is trying to divert the topic. That's the reason why he is asking for his slippers. Mrs. Slatter, in the kitchen, but you want a new pair. Those old ones are nearly worn out. So here Slatter is telling that your slippers are there in the kitchen. And already previously Henry asked Slatter to have a new pair of slippers as the old ones are worn out. Means they got damaged. Means they are not in a proper condition. Nearly breaking down. Worn out means they are nearly breaking down. You don't seem to realize what it's costing me to bear up like I am doing. My heart's fit to break when see the little trifles. Here the word, you need to see the meaning of the word trifles. So trifles means little things that belong to grandfather lying around and think he'll never use them again. Briskly. Here when they are discussing about the slippers, Henry is asking Slatter to have a new pair of slippers as the old ones are worn out. Seeing the little things of the grandfather, means of her father lying there, she is feeling very bad because they are lying useless as the person is dead according to their opinion. As their father is dead, all these small things will be waste. They won't be used by anyone. Seeing that, Slatter is feeling bad. Slatter is feeling very bad about the belongings of her father. As he is dead in their opinion, the things, the belongings of her father will be of no use because nobody will be using them. Here you would better wear the slippers of grandfather's now. It's lucky. He would just got a new pair. So here Slatter is advising her husband to wear the slippers of her father, as his father bought his slippers very new and without using them properly only he is dead. That's why here Slatter wants to make the optimum use of the belongings of her father. Henry, they'll be very small for me, my dear. So Henry is telling the size is different. The slippers what you have asked me to wear, they'll be very small for me. Mrs. Slatter, they'll stretch, won't they? I'm not going to have them wasted. She has finished laying the table. So she is advising her husband, telling that the slippers will be stretched, and she also mentions that she doesn't want to waste those slippers. That's why she is advising her husband to use the same new slippers of her father. Henry, I have been thinking about the bureau of grandfather's in his bedroom. You know, I always wanted to have it after he died. So, Henry is telling to Slatter about the bureau which is lying in the grandfather's room. And he also says that after his death, he wants to use that bureau. What is a bureau here? Bureau is a writing desk with the drawers. B-U-R-E-A-U. It is a writing desk. Now the entire story is going to rotate around this bureau. That's why I'm mentioning this once again. Bureau is a writing desk with drawers. Henry wanted to take it after the death of the grandfather.
If you like this video, please give a thumbs up. Please subscribe to our channel to get more videos on CBSE syllabus.